There are issues between aware people which I must address in this video. Those relatively meaningless side issues are creating divisions which prevent us, the aware people, from uniting and opposing any threats to our future existence, to the existence of our nation's cultures, traditional values, or our traditional Western civilization in general. I will try to reach your reason for disliking ideological differences, religious differences, and gender differences. I will also address the issues of aware European people working with the aware non-European people. Let's start with the political and ideological differences, because those create the least amount of issues when it comes to working together for our future in this world. Some of you proudly engage each other in discussions about being a fascist, conservative, monarchist. This creates issues which sometimes lead people to confrontations. Those are damaging to our cooperation, and without cooperation we cannot save our future. I repeat once again, we need to establish international organization and cooperation in order to make a true stand for our future. Otherwise, we are all going to lose, and our children will pay the highest price for us fighting with each other over meaningless differences and remaining divided. It does not matter if you are a fascist, paleo-conservative, or monarchist, because you do not represent us in your country as an official political figure, being a dissident in that society. You do not have any power to shape this world or politics alone. None of us do, and it will not change anytime soon. Attacking aware people from among our already limited ranks based on our minor political issues and refusing to cooperate and offer mutual support and solidarity for our future where we must oppose common threats is illogical and irresponsible. In the end, we will all end up at the bottom, destroyed if we don't cooperate. You may discuss your political ideas and make some proposals for your country politics or the local community in your country by the Polsat platform when it will be available. For now, however, focus on the bigger picture, which is the struggle for the fate of all our Western nations and civilization. Your political ideas and your ideology won't benefit you on its own if you do not have people to represent you or back you up from an official respected position. Attacking each other and refusing to cooperate because of differences in political ideology is only damaging, and we will not improve or change anything alone without a successful attainment of the plan's goals presented in our video series. Our international organization is here to help you as an aware individual and to help the aware communities in your country become stronger and well organized on an international level. As long as your community or you as an individual share our awareness of the brutal reality of this world system and our concerns about the future of the West, and as long as your ideals keep in line with what we define as what constitutes a civilized society. Respect our traditional Western Christian values and preserve of our traditional cultures, nations, and the traditional nuclear family model in the West. There are universal values and principles which are healthy for our Western nations and the development of our civilization in general, and we will be defending and promoting those values. So, as long as you are supporting the voices of reason and sanity in the West, we will be helping you or your community grow strong, have a secured future in this world, and with time restore the rules of sanity and reason in your country by using the means presented in our planned video series. We won't interfere with the state politics in your country, at least not directly. Our hands must remain clean from that, even if we may offer healthy ideas through the Polsat platform. With ideological differences aside, let's focus on supporting what's necessary for securing our future in this world. which is gaining our people and spreading the realization of this plan, with full respect to the authority of the leading team. They are responsible for the organization of this operation as the necessary representative element which will link us all together into an international network for cooperation, trade, and organization. Note here, please, you may have the most wonderful political ideology ideas, etc., but you won't be able to apply them on a broad scale without having the means to do that. And we provide a means in form of this plan. Next, religious differences. Christianity, paganism, and atheism are dominating among the groups of our people. Those are completely able to coexist, prosper, and cooperate in peace because of a core of traditional moral values. However, even if that is so, many individuals in those groups are having issues with each other because of historical issues or the subversion, especially of the church. First, I will address pagans because they are most likely to refuse cooperation with nationalist Christians or even atheists, sometimes even turning openly hostile at both of those groups. Paganism, by its nature as a disparate collection of folk religions, is less able to resist an organized juggernaut like Islam compared to an organized pan-European religion such as Christianity. The best evidence for this is visible through history, where pagans were not able to remain loyal to their own religions on a tribal or national level, nor able to defend themselves against well-organized and united Christian armies. Islam is aggressive, expansional, and relies on the submission of those which its culture and ideology consume, which means it's much a bigger threat to our traditional way of life, to our civilization, and to our future existence than anything else. If Christianity ends up destroyed in our Western countries without a suitable successor, it will be supplanted by Islam. Pagans, the choice looks as follows. You can help to destroy Christianity by refusing to cooperate with Christian nationalists, and you will destroy yourself. Or you can stay as your own religion, with Christianity simply coexisting with you. I hope the choice for the West is obvious at this point. Next, I will address atheists, especially those who believe that religion itself is to blame for our miserable situation. I am also aware that some Christians went absolutely insane, probably because of the subversion, cheering for a certain country of chosen people in the Middle East, ignoring the fact that those chosen people almost all absolutely despise those Christians and Christianity. And those crazy Christians are being destructive not only to themselves, but also our countries and civilization in general. Can you point me to a single example from the past of how any truly civilized culture was developed without religion? Do you know why it's not possible to point out any? Because the regular people need to believe in something that drives them forward. I'm not talking about a reasonable great ideas. I am talking about a spiritual force or something that defines a moral code, or as I might say, a backbone for a civilization to prosper. You may all believe as much as you want that the world will be a better place without any religion, but in the end, the majority of people are naturally programmed to believe in something. Even atheism itself is a form of a belief in its own way, so please keep that in mind, especially before attacking Christianity. Remember, if Christianity is gone, the Islam will come, and the Islam hates atheists much more than it hates Christianity. A world without any religion is a fairy tale, a false utopia which will never come true. Now, about Christians and Christianity. My ancestors swore to defend the church with the sword when there will be a need for that. It was a family tradition that in times of violence for the church, the men from my family would travel to the other side of Europe to fight and die for the church. Likely for me and my bloodlines, it did not happen very often. Even if I am a Catholic myself, true, I do understand that the church today is doing lots of damage, including to the church itself. I would make a claim that it became subverted once again. There are good Christian groups, true, traditional Christians, those who understand what Christianity is about, and who stand on guard for Europe and our Western countries, as our traditional Christian forefathers stood before in the past. Those Christians are defending and promoting the healthy moral values on which our civilization was founded, and they are also the most numerous in opposing Islam from consuming Europe. Today we call them Christian nationalists, and they are very aware about those who are destroying our civilization. They are devoted to opposing that destruction. Those are the Christians to whom you should all respect and support, because they will gladly support you in return, as long as you share our traditional Western values, even if you do not believe in God. There are other Christians who are somehow aware about the brutal reality of our world, but at the same time they tell us not to get involved and not to take any action. They say, trust God, focus on your church and don't get involved. They practice a form of pacifism or isolationism that rejects supporting any organization that take a true stand for our future. There are still others, whether Christians or not, God only knows, that simply wear the name of Christianity on their sleeve and support those groups and organizations that are diametrically opposed to the true and the values that form the foundations of the Western civilization. Being duped, they oppose themselves in their undying devotion for politically correct, culturally relevant ideas such as diversity, inclusivity, feminism, cultural Marxism, critical race theory, and intersectionality. Those must be confronted and corrected, or if they are unwilling to listen, avoided. Allow me to generalize. God expects you to work for your well-being, not only to pray and hope for the best, but to take action and to occupy as faithful stewards of all He has entrusted us with. Does not even our own brutal reality require as much? North Africa and Middle East were Christians in the past. Do you know why Christians are most oppressed over there? Why they suffer so much, as they have through history? Why Christianity almost does not exist anymore on those lands? Because the majority of those Christians preferred to stay idle and pray, trusting God, that God will save them from the slavery, torture, and slaughter by the Islamic sword. Perhaps a recent example will convince you more. Look at Turkey. Do you know what they do to Christians in Turkish lands? How many Christians were killed in cold blood? Children, women, men, all were equal under the sword, just because they didn't work nor fight effectively to secure their future and the well-being of their own families. Christians believe that God has provided redemption through the cross of Christ and the power of His resurrection to keep them from condemnation with the world. However, He will judge the Christians as a servant for His faithfulness to stand for the righteousness and stand against evil. That is the Christian's commission and obligation, to keep your family safe and provide for their future. You must work for it, sometimes even fight to secure it. We all need to avoid the entitlement mentality and not expect God to do all the work while we simply lounge around and enjoy the benefits. Remember, complacency leads to apathy, and apathy leads to destruction. Only when the entirety of the European people become a united community of sacrifice, then alone can we hope that the Providence will grant us assistance in the future. The Almighty never helpeth a lazy man. He does not help the coward. He does not help the people that will not help themselves. Here the same principle applies. People, help yourselves. Step out by the faith, and the Almighty cannot deny you His assistance. Also, when it comes to this operation and various Christian groups with European origins, please remember that it does not matter if you are a Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox, or any other denomination, because in the end you are all European, and we are all in the same boat. We must all cooperate to secure our future existence. No matter what our individual religious views, there is a certain spirituality that we all have in common. The sense of belonging to a great chain of being. We are all of us links in that chain that genetically connects us with our past. We are all heirs to a great civilizational legacy to which our religions have contributed greatly, each in their own ways. They will all inspire us to defend that legacy and continue our great chain of being into the far-flung future. The chain will continue, however, only if each generational link is strong. Our people are the generation's link, and we cannot allow differences of personal belief system to weaken it whatsoever. Ultimately, what matters more than which faith you profess in our current situation is that you have faith in yourselves and your brothers. The tremendous success of our civilization, especially in the face of overwhelming odds at multiple times in the past, renders belief in our cause no matter of faith at all. The evidence speaks for itself. Heroic potential runs through all of us, and only through solidarity we will realize it. Moving on, an argument I have heard is that the USA will be fine on its own, and Americans should leave Europe behind because it's not their business. This is extremely selfish, short-sighted and irresponsible perspective. Anyone with such thoughts should be ashamed. Western civilization is being destroyed, and Western civilization is the most oppressed. It has constantly decreasing population, which are the structure of the civilization. The entire situation in our Western world is a war for civilization, a civilization of people with European origins. Europe is the homeland of the ancestors who created countries such as United States, Australia, Canada, and many others. And some of you who are aware fell so low to a point of letting your true homeland be destroyed by subversion and invaders from outside. Without Europe, America will fall, and without America, Europe will fall as well. We must reinforce each other to keep our civilization alive. It's not a political conflict which we find ourselves in, or national. It's a civilizational one, and we are all part of the same civilization, which grew based on the same Christian values. As for the last subject, cooperation and approval for supporters of our operation that are non-European, there are many of them asking in the comment section what is our stance on them helping us if they are aware. if they share our values and concerns about the future of peoples with European origins or our Western civilization in general, because their own countries are also enslaved by and slowly being destroyed or exploited by the same system which is controlled by our international masters. I stated this in my videos before, but I will repeat again. As long as you share our values with full respect to our cultures, traditions, and a monolithic model for our European nations in this world, then we have no objections to cooperate, to work together, and oppose those who are destroying our nations today. We want to live in peace in lands of our ancestors, and we wish the same thing for any other non-European nations. Yes, there are those who understand this and share our concerns about the future of the West, and want to help us by working with us. Perhaps they wish to help operate on our platforms and participate with their own country in trade on our market system. They are more than welcome to do that. I have a few non-Europeans on my team, such as an Asian man who was with me from very beginning when I started my first channel. He just contacted me and offered to help, without asking for anything in return. He simply liked the fact that I opposed them and that I sound sincere, he said. Many of you have heard about this operation because he, for many hours per day, spreads the word about the plan and about what we are doing here. This Asian man helped me more than any of those famous YouTubers out there who claim to be on our side, yet act otherwise. Even when I openly requested their help, they just decided to ignore this opportunity for our future. They didn't even find time to research our material. Back to this man, being completely objective and fair, I value him, a man who cares about the future of the West and the people with European origins, more than those pale people who are ignorant masses or leftists. They, by lack of reason or pure stupidity, actively and intentionally contribute to our destruction in this world today. And he didn't ask for any rewards. I didn't lure him with any promises, and still he was with us almost from the very beginning. Today he remains loyal, devoted, caring about our inner and outer security, sacrificing his time every day to do what he can to help us and our people. I wish more of our European members would act in very same manner, but there are only few. People like this man care for us and are defending us, while our own people are often backstabbing us. The people who control the world system today divide and rule over our nations, pushing their destructive agenda on the entire world, because they believe that they are the only ones who should have absolute control. And they must make sure that our nations will never mobilize and rise against them. So they destroy everything that is holy, that gives us strength and a possibility of uniting and organizing to create this meaningful force capable of reshaping this world. You cannot unite a multicultural nation to act as one. We cannot appeal to our nations from our miserable marginal positions without having any means to do that. But even among our people, there are serious divisions because of selfish leaders. They are charismatic smooth talkers who attract and charm our people around them and intentionally mislead them to make sure that our people remain divided. I have noticed that there are people who officially represent us from more famous and secured positions claiming to be on our side, and yet they still have selfish attitude, grouping our people around them. They pose as if they know better than anybody else and that they wish the best for our future. But in fact, all they do is to keep us distracted and divided in those smaller, meaningless groups. They refuse to listen, to act reasonable, weakening our unity in the process. As it stands today, the plan presented in our video series is the best and the only realistic one which can be applied to save our future. Please act reasonably. Do not refuse to cooperate because of a small meaningless differences which can be resolved later on, but unite and work together to create this true force capable of reshaping this world. Those who enslave our countries today control our system merely because we remain divided, busy fighting with each other. This benefits their position of power, a pure divide and conquer strategy or divide and rule. We may oppose them only if we work together, and why making allies who suffer from this enslavement in the same manner as us, and who might benefit our trade market in the future, and in the process benefit their own nations as well. A strong economy and our own economic bloc are the necessities to achieving a meaningful victory. Throughout history, it is clearly visible every country that wanted to wage and win a war needed money, aka a strong economy. This operation is a part of a larger war for our future survival. I hope I have reached the understanding of some by sending this message. Thank you for listening.